such brilliant speakers. And I'm very excited to have this discussion, this roundtable with the speakers. Hello, Jean.
Hello, good morning to all.
Hello. As I was saying, I'm going to start. We're going to talk about relevant topics on startups. More precisely, we're going to talk about experiences and advices on launching a startup. So before starting our discussion, I will present myself and I will ask you kindly to present yourself just right after me. So I'm Thiago. I'm a third year PhD student in engineering on SKALLES at the University of Marechal, and I'm one of the organizers of this Gahadoc event. So please, could Nadia present herself?
Hi, I am Nadia. So I am the managing director of La French Paris-Saclay, a non-profit organization governed mainly by the startup CEO. The objective of the La French Paris-Saclay is to bring together a community of entrepreneurs based in and around Paris-Saclay area in order to defend, promote their activities, and more specifically, we can help them to connect them with the good and the strong contact in order to help them on their activities. I worked for 2 years in Boston for the French embassy in the United States. So my role was to help the French startup to set up in Boston, and vice versa to help the American startup to grow up in France.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Johanna Michielin, and I'm the CEO of CNRS Innovation. CNRS Innovation is the technology transfer office of CNRS. We're a team of 60 people, and our job is mainly to protect the results that come out of the laboratories of CNRS, meaning we fill patents or protect the softwares or the know-how. And our goal is to transfer those results to existing company or to create new company. This is why we created a couple of years ago a program to accompany CNRS researchers, but also PhD and postdocs in the course of creating their startup. This is called the RISE program, and it is accessible for all researchers from CNRS laboratories that want to create a startup. We've been accompanying so far around 50 projects, and we're eager to talk this further with you and see if you're interested and if this is something in your mind, something we could help you with.
Thiago, could you please repeat? We cannot hear you.
Hello. Sorry, I was muted. So please, Ewen, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. So my name is Ewen. I am 33. I have a PhD in computational physics, which I defended in 2016. In 2017, I followed an entrepreneurship course in ESCP Europe Business School because I was thinking about starting a company based on my PhD work, and I wasn't sure I had all the knowledge and skills required to do so after a PhD. And during these lectures, I kind of changed my entrepreneurship objective from marketing my my PhD work to something a little bit different. I founded my company SKALLES in 2018, and the goal of SKALLES is to help people from public research labs or startup to develop scientific software, because what I realized during my PhD and after is that in labs we are really skilled to build up scientific tools, models, simulation, and algorithms, but it's far from the expectation of the industry, which are professional software. And most labs don't have the IT teams which is required to close this gap. So this is what we do at SKALLES, software engineering to transfer software from labs to the industry.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Now I would like Jean to introduce yourself and then we start.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, you can talk.
Do you hear me? Okay.
Yes, John, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jean Koivogui. I am the CEO of NEXAFRIKA, a startup that develops mapping, addressing, and geographical information system based on space technology and blockchain for African countries. I'm also a civil engineer and a mentor, student, and entrepreneur at University Paris-Saclay. Thank you. And before I would like to thank the organizer of this event, Caradoc, and all the participant panelists and students. Thank you to all.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. And so before we start our discussion, I would like to lay some facts about some startups in France. And with this, I have this small presentation where I would like to address my first question to Johanna. So would you say that France is a good country for startups based on your experiences?
Well, I would say that the French ecosystem definitely developed a lot in the past years. I can say that nowadays, if your idea is to build a startup in France, you will be greatly accompanied in terms of structures that are there to follow up with you at every step of the way. It's true in a very early stage when you just have an idea. You have the results of your PhD in hands, and you want to reach out to some people who can give you some advice on whether it is a good idea to build a startup or not. This is the work mainly of your university, of CNRS, and of the SAT Paris-Saclay, for example. But then along the way, you will find some other structures that are more specialized into growing your actual company. It's the incubators, the accelerators, La French Tech. And on every side of your path, nowadays in France, we're very structured to accompany you. It's true also financially speaking. Right now, when you want to build a startup, you will have help all along the way as well in terms of subsidies for sure, but also in terms of investments. You need to see that France has become very recently the most attractive European country for investors. And this is a very huge step that we reached, and it's thanks to the work of all those actors that made it really attractive for investors to come have a look at our startup and invest in them because they're good quality projects.
Okay, thank you very much. For sure, indeed, we see that France, it seems a very good place to start business. But however, in such a good environment, we cannot forget about the challenges behind creating one startup. So with this idea that we can bring these statistics that it says about 90% of startups fail. Of course, the exact accuracy of this number is beyond this conversation that we are having, because we know we have to keep it. One thing in mind is it's risky. So as we are here together to talk about experiences and also advices to our participants and how to launch a startup, I would suggest we discuss some reasons like why so many startups they fail and how to overcome this fact. So with this first, I would like to address a question to Jean. And what do you think are the fatal mistakes that should not be made in order to survive and to progress in the market? Jean, you're muted, okay? And okay, please. And please don't hesitate the others to add some contributions and some discussion. Thanks.
Okay. I think before you start your startup, you need to find good ecosystem, because when we start a startup, we don't have many information about the market, about ecosystem, and about partnership. To avoid to make a mistake, we need to be followed by some partner on the market to find some good ecosystem, and to have many information about the market that we want to address our project and our solutions. For me, it was my main mistake at first, because when I start my startup, I don't take time to study my market. I do not take time to create ecosystem with partners, some local partner in Africa. I work on my first project, my first technological solution, but it was not adapted at the market. It was my mistake. So today, my advice to all startups is before to start to work on our project, you need to make time to study the market, the needs of the market, the need of your customer, of your partner, and to find a good ecosystem like incubator and like another ecosystem, to have many information before start our startup or before launch our product on the market. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone like to add some comments, please?
Yes. I think these statistics are quite interesting, because what they show is that roughly 70% of the failure reasons are related to money, because the lack of product market fit is a kind of financial issue in the end. Also the marketing problem, and of course the finance problem, and 20% is related to team. So if I had to give a small piece of advice related to team issues, is as a PhD student or a postdoctoral student, researcher, sorry, you may be used to working alone, and being alone is really not a good idea when you start a business. You have to find other people to give you feedback, to work with you, to help you to build a product or market it or analyze your model. I think it's very important. And regarding the financial issues, I think we will speak about it a little bit later. So I leave it as it is for now.
If I may, I would like to add and maybe make a comment on the numbers. So we saw that if you take all startups from all around the world, 90% of them tend to fail at some point.
Yes.
I would like to give you another number, is that we created out of CNRS Lab 1,500 startups since the 70s. And out of those 1,500 startups, 80% are still working. Either they got acquired or they're still in business. And so we need to analyze that number compared to other kind of startups that are built not on a groundbreaking technology. This gives you for sure a competitive advantage. And also maybe we're not accompanied by a strong ecosystem. I can say that most of the startups that come out of the CNRS lab are accompanied, and this is what you underlined, Jean. The people that create a startup out of our research laboratories, they're not alone. We do this work together, and especially on the items that were mentioned before, the product market fit, the financing. This is something we work together with them. And so when they create the startup, they have really a clear picture of where they're going on that. And I think this is one of the main explanation, alongside with the fact that they're very innovative, and so it gives them a competitive advantage. But this whole preparatory work before creating the startup also gives them an advantage. I'm sure about it.
Yes. I'd like just to add one more question, which is also regarding of the same numbers. It shows in the presentation that we had 18% of team members as a common reason for startup failure. So we can see, and definitely making this bridge with what Ewen just mentioned, I can definitely say for myself that sometimes PhD students work very alone in their projects. So I think that's a common question that would say, how does the choice of the team impact the present and the future of a startup? Because I would say it's very hard sometimes to find the perfect team member. I would like to address this question to maybe Nadia or someone who wants.
Yeah, definitely the human resources is very important for the startup. For many things, the first thing, of course, to understand your market, to understand the needs of the people. So the final customers. Usually, the PhD and the researcher are not confront to this world of the market. So they confront on the world of the science and the technology, maybe different competitors, but on the technology side, I mean, not on the customer side. So first, it's very important to understand your market, definitely, and then for the different VC or business angel, the investor people and the investor world, which will be you'll be confront if you want to create your company. You have to show a strong team for the startup and for the company on the scientific side and the operational side. So I mean marketing, commercial, whatever. As a PhD student, or as a researcher, you have the scientific skills. So it's a good point, right? Because the scientific skills mean you are here for create the solution, the project, or the process. But you have to find the different other skills for create a strong startup. And for that, the world of the research in general, public research, private research, it's very complicated to find your CEO, your co-founder, I mean the other skills for the operational side. So that's why, and I permit to say the same thing. I think it's Jean said that the ecosystem where you create your company is very important to find and to find the other skills you need for the company. So I think the different researcher, I mean PhD or the other researcher, have to have a more open mind of the world, on the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So don't hesitate to network on the different business events, not just technological and science events. Don't hesitate to network on the company, industrial, and corporate events too, just to find and to mix your solution with the different partnership or the different needs and different needs of customers.
Okay, thank you. Please, Ewen.
Yes, if I may add something. A very bad thing to do is to fund your company, your startup, with your PhD director. Don't do it. Most of the time it creates a lot of issue within the society, because the young doctor, the PhD, will have the executive role and will have to be the one which take the decision. And if the PhD director is part of the team and not as an executive, it may create some rather complicated situation where the PhD director is second guessing all the calls of the PhD student, which is supposed to be the CEO. So it can create quite complex issues. And I have seen 2 startups which failed because of this kind of relationship.
Wow, very interesting point. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. Someone else want to add some point?
Well, I would like to make comments maybe on those 2 interventions. On the first point, for sure, the team is important, and it's important to put in relation what is your plan, what are you planning to execute, and what are the skills inside your team, who's going to do it, and why is this person skilled to do that? This is mainly the question that the investors are going to ask you. And for sure, you need to keep in mind what Nadia just said. This is an important part for the investors. The investors, they're going to invest on your research result product, but also on the team, because they're giving their money to the team for the team to manage and to use it. And so they're going to question really in depth, why is this person involved in the company? What is this person going to bring to the company? What is she going to do every day? And why did you choose her and not somebody else? What are the skills that are going to be used? So you need to be ready to answer those kind of questions. And then I make the link to the second comment that Ewen made about what is your PhD director doing there, for example. So it might be sometimes very useful or necessary, because the technology is so disruptive that you actually need the skills of your research director there as a scientific advisor. It's going to be asked from the investors to have the scientific quotient, the experience of your PhD director in the company. But then, for sure, and this is an advice you need to remember as well, it's not because he's in the company that he's leading the company. Most of the time, the research director stays in the lab. He has his job as a researcher. And this is a very nice and secure way for him to participate. And you quit everything and go lead your company as CEO. So you need to be able to make the calls. And making the calls, meaning having the majority in terms of shareholders, this gives you the ability to make the calls. And it's about having a team around you that makes the decisions. So sometimes it is important to have this scientific caution of the very senior CEO who's also recognized in the international community as the expert on the topic. It can be a strength for your company to have this person on board, but you need to make clear as well who is leading, who's making the decisions, and this is going to be very appreciated from the investors as well. And that needs to be prepared and decided also before you create the company. So there you can ask the help of people who know how it's usually done and how it usually works out well, to make this discussion happen between all the members of your future company and make the right decision about what is going to be who's going to be a shareholder, at what percentage, who's going to lead, who's going to make the decisions.
Wow, amazing. Thanks very much for sharing all of this. And I'd like to address now a question regarding the early stages of the company's growth. So we can see, of course, we have seen that many startups fail, but what would you say, Ewan and Jean, you both had your own startup? What is the hardest part when your company is starting to get some momentum? So please.
Jean, you can start.
You're muted, Jean. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this question. At first, the most complicated part was to find the right people and the useful of our solution, and that it is made a real need on the market. Because at first you have some idea and some solution to address on your market, but you don't know how to present it. And everyone knows today the big challenges of a startup is to attract talent. This is the basis of successful. Once you have found the partner, the communication around your solutions and your product is done on. It is on. I think this is the good and the first challenge. You need to you need to find how to present our solution and how to convince the partner to have to confirm your solution and to make our promotion and to work with us. Thank you.
Okay. For me, okay. First, my feedback is very related to my company, my experience, and my background. As Johanna said, when you start a company based on the tech from a laboratory, the ecosystem can provide you a lot of advice, a lot of networking, a lot of funding, which is really great. And I think it's definitely the best way to start a company for a PhD. But it was not my case because I was not developing tech from my lab, so I had no tech, and also I had no lab. And since I was alone, I had no team. And in this kind of situation, which may happen if you want to start a company which is completely unrelated to your PhD student, to your PhD and your lab activities, then it's quite complicated. And for me, I think the hardest part was first the multitasking, because if you are the whole team, you have to do a lot of very different jobs which require very different skill sets. So for me, this was quite challenging. And also building a network, especially among potential customers, because you cannot rely on your lab partners. And as a PhD student, you don't really build a professional network outside of your scientific field. So this part, I think, is it's quite luck related. You can do your best, but at some point you will have to rely a little bit on luck to meet the right people at the right time. And it was my case, and that's why my company is still running, but it may or may not happen. And also the last hard part is to get the first customers and the trust of someone to start a proof of concept. Because again, when you have no tech and no lab and no team, people won't trust you and they will not want to do business with you.
Yeah, you have a very good point there in this beginning. Now, so far we have seen like the environment of creating startups look like in France in this macro view, and also the obstacles that we can always face. For instance, we have to have this networking, and we have to have a very good team partner to start. But I would like to discuss now a more specific type of startups called deep tech startups, as it sounds natural, at least to me, that to raise this term in such an event for young researchers as the PhD students and the postdocs who are participating in watching us. So I would like to ask kindly to Nadia to describe what differentiates a deep tech startup from a regular tech startup for participants, and maybe comment a little bit their presence on the Paris-Saclay ecosystem.
Well, yeah. So the definition will be not the same if you are in foreign country or in France. Deep tech, so its terminology was launched by the French government in order to promote the French innovation in international, I mean. So for that, the bank, the public bank, la BPI France, is have to propose some program and some challenge for some projects, from some call of project for projects, calls for application in the deep tech area, in order to boost the innovation in this area. So for startup, I mean, it's not just for startup, but we'll talk more about startup. For the startup can be a deep tech startup if they can prove there are a long R&D to get to market, for example, that prove a strong link to the scientific world, disruptive innovation, of course, a strong differentiating in advantage over the competition, over the competitors, etc. So it's not just for startup. It's also for the big company, for the small and medium company size, for the big firm like IBM. IBM can be a deep tech company because they develop some project on the quantum fields, some AI fields. So for the goal for the French government is to promote the French innovation. So they make a plan for 5 years to see in 5 years the startup in this area increase. For that, so there are 130 million euros to help the startup in this area. So BPI France can help to the different entrepreneurs from the idea, so the feasibility of the solution, to the development, I mean, to the go-to-market, industrialization, and between you can find, of course, the proof of concept. So the BPI France can suggest some grant or some investment in deep tech. For that, you have to apply at different and many programs. You have almost 10 programs. Depends of the level of your activities. So the different program can give you two things. The first thing, of course, is the money like grant, seeds, or like a bank loan, but also the visibility towards the different price challenge you can get, and it's very important too for the, of course, the investors, business angel, and VCs, but also if you want to internationalize to your activity in the foreign country at the during your activity. I mean, so you have to prove the different thing about deep tech. I mean, disruptive innovation, strong link with the science and research, long R&D for this every program you apply. So maybe you can be a deep tech startup at the beginning. I mean, for the first program you apply, it's for example, a feasibility program from the BPI France, but it doesn't mean you can be and stay a deep tech factory, deep tech startup at the end of your development, R&D development, because the criteria can be a review by the BPI France. So it's very important to keep an eye of the different program can be give from the French government. I mean, it's almost BPI France, and also your different competitors, your different development R&D. You have to have like a view for almost 3 years after the creation of your startup, just for being sure you can keep the deep tech label for many years and for the different program proposed by BPI France, I mean.
Yes, thank you very much. It would be interesting now. I'd like to address a question to Johanna. What are the particularities found in the Paris-Saclay ecosystems that boost its development? What do you think?
Well, I would say the first quality, but it's not going to come as a surprise from CNRS. We think there's a great research ecosystem that, first of all, is the quality of the science that is produced there. And this is linked to the quality of the university, of the engineering schools, and of the research organizations that are present on the site. But when it comes to company creating and startup creating, I think the particularity of the Paris-Saclay ecosystem is that you have, like, on one location every part of what you need alongside the road. Meaning you have the SAT that is going to help you at the very beginning of it, or CNRS, we were there as well. You're going to have the incubator. An incubator is also there on the site. You're going to have a lot of your potential co-developers or future clients, meaning lots of industrial entities located their research center in Paris-Saclay. And lots of them are also currently locating their own incubators in Paris-Saclay, which means there's a lot of activity around startup creations. You have, for example, Air Liquide, who's creating their own incubator there, or soon Servier is going to bring one there as well in partnership with Biolabs. So this is like a whole ecosystem that is going to be linked together in one place. And when you create a startup on the campus of Paris-Saclay, you can pick at every part of your development there on site at which door you wanna knock. And this is for sure, I mean, the best actor to help you out in orientating you in this whole network is for sure La French Tech.
You are on mute, Thiago.
Sorry, thanks very much. Would you like to add something else? Okay, so just one more point. It's for me, it's very interesting, this the importance and how these ecosystems that Paris-Saclay helps other startups, and we can always see, and we can see that definitely it will boost in a few years this whole development of new and more startups. And it's very exciting to see all of this. And but now I would like to be a little bit more practical, in the sense that many people and many entrepreneurs, they don't know like how to get one. They have this brilliant idea, which is when they finish the PhD. Maybe even Ewen can say that you have this brilliant idea, you finish your PhD, but you don't know how to bring it to this other point, which is a secure and established business, which is making money. So I'd like to address this following question to Ewen, which would be like, what do you have as tips and advices on founding a tech company just right after your PhD, and how you turn your brilliant idea into this sustainable business?
Okay, I have a small presentation to answer this question, so I will try to share my screen.
Yes, okay. Phil.
I think it's this one. Okay, so everyone can see it.
Yes.
Okay, I will go to the presentation mode. So to answer the question called this small slide, the startup equation. So let's say you are about to finish your PhD, or you already finished it and you are a postdoctoral student, researcher, and you have a net idea. It may or may not be related to your scientific work, maybe something completely unrelated. So you want to launch a startup to reach your objective, which can be simply to be independent, to change the world, to get money, whatever it is. So the first thing is actually the startup is not goal in itself, I suppose, and it's not it will not achieve its objective by itself. So the first thing is that you will need to do a product or a service if it's a service company, but it's not the relevant point here. And the first thing is to think and to define what will be your products and also your market. But if you are doing a tech company, especially a deep tech company, the product will not be developed by itself. So actually, the path to solve this startup equation is to hire a team of people with different skill, which can be scientific skill, product and design skill, business skill, whatever, which will build the product to reach your objective. However, what you will quickly realize is that people may share your objective and think your idea is indeed a brilliant one, but people won't work for you for free. So you need actually money to hire the team to build your product to reach your objective. And the money, I mean, you can have several sources to get your funding, but ideally you would like to have a working business model. So on the long run, the money will come from the customers, which will allow you to get money to pay the people which will work and develop your product. And here comes the equation. It's a little bit of a circle. Because the customer, especially in France, especially when we're speaking about tech company, they won't necessarily trust you directly. They will want to see your product, see your tech, see if it's working, if it's relevant. So you will need the product to get the customer, to get the fund, to get the team. So you see where this is going. This is a loop, and at some point you will need to prime it. So how to do it? A possibility is to start with the money, with the funding. The problem is, as a PhD student or a postdoc researcher, we are not exactly well paid during the PhD, and we don't have a lot of savings to inject in the company. And also we could try to start with finding a customer which is willing to pay to develop the product, but also most of the time as a PhD student, we don't have a strong network. So here is the reality. If you want to develop a product, you will need several people working for maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, and it depends, of course, of the kind of work you are paying people to do, but just as the order of magnitude is one employee will cost you 50,000 euros per year, and you will need several of them during several years. So definitely your personal saving will not be enough to prime the loop, and your personal network will probably not be strong enough to get customers to start the loop. So this is the real question: how to actually manage to start it. Well, we have several possibilities, and the right answer will be a mix of them. So everything is very situational. If you are starting a spin-off of your lab, so you basically are developing the tech of your lab, I think it's the best way to start a company as a PhD. Stick to your lab and stick to your lab intellectual properties. So you will be able to speak with the nice people in the SAT, which can bring you a lot of funding and work power. You can try to do some to fetch some grants like the iLab, which is very, very good, but reserved for tech from public research labs. And also most universities have a small valorization seller service, which is doing a great job. So I think this is the best way. Now, if you don't have access to this type of funding and ecosystem, because you are doing something which is completely unrelated to your PhD, then it gets a little bit trickier. So what you have is the basic government grants, like the Bourse French Tech, the Bourse Innovup, which can fund the project for 20 to 50K, depending if your project is tech heavy or not. From my experience and my point of view, and again, it may be different for different people, but this kind of funding, which is supposed to help you to evaluate the feasibility of your problem, will be granted if you have already evaluated the feasibility of your business. So they come sort of after it's done. So it's still very good and very helpful, because in my case it allowed me to hire my first employee, but it's not enough to completely fund and start a business, especially of a tech business, as it's the case for my company. You have your personal savings, which may bring maybe 10 to 20K, but probably not much more if you don't have money in the family. And you have the best funding source is actually unemployment allowance, because it will pay you for 2 years, and it will bring in the company around 50 kilo euros, and you don't have to file a lot of paperwork to get it, and you have it, so go for it. And the last possibility is to have in the company a private investor, which can bring much more money that you could yourself afford. I happen to meet one really nice person, which bring a lot of network and also a lot of money to the company. And that's how we managed to develop the business, develop and fund our own tech, and hire the current team of 3 employees. But it's a little bit network and luck based, so it's complicated. I think I've That's it. So the takeaway is try to stick to your lab IP if you can, because then your PhD, your knowledge will be very, very, very helpful. If you want to do something different, it will be very difficult.
Wow. Okay, thanks very much. Very brilliant. I very like your slides in the whole presentation. Anyone would like to add some comments? Sorry. Can you guys listen, Johanna? Johanna, you want to say something, Johanna, or you was muted or not?
I think you're on mute.
Maybe you're muted. I'm not sure.
I think you're muted.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe. Can you try again, please? But I have some technical problem now. No, we're not listening. We were and then stopped. But okay, thank you very much. You would like
Johanna, could you please reconnect? I think it's a problem with the connection. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Regarding I would like to ask now a question just related to what you just mentioned in your presentation, Ewen, which is I think most of participants want also to know that as a co-founder and a founder of a company, if you're still working on your technical parts of the projects or the management is taking the majority of your time, could you please, Ewen or Jean, please talk about how is co-founding one company?
Okay, in my case, I am working on the technical tasks, which are mostly related to software programming. I would say 85% of my time.
Okay. Thanks. What about you, Jean, in your startup?
In my part, I am working on management and leading my project. My co-founder work on the technical part. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Johanna, you want to try now your connection just to make sure?
Yeah. Is it working now? Okay. Now I just wanted to add something to the great presentation Ewen just made. Maybe one quick comment. I think it also depends about the funding of your startup on which field you want to create your startup. If you want to, for example, create a biotech company, you will have to raise funds. There's no other choice. This is the extreme example, but it's also valid for less extreme ones. And in that case, for sure, you can get some help as well to get in contact with the investment funds. This is the part of our work. For example, this is we have a pretty big network of seed investment funds, and we prepare our projects, we prepare the pitch decks, and then we put them in contact with the right person at the right moment in order to increase their chance to actually raise funds. So sometimes it's a mandatory exercise. If you can bootstrap, it's for sure easier somehow or more difficult, depends how it fits to your business model. But for deep tech companies, if you're based on the results of your lab, and you qualify as a deep tech company, you will probably, very probably, have to raise private funds.
Thank you very much, Johanna, for your comment. I would like to say something, Nadia. I'm not sure if you wanted to say it before or was just... no? Okay, I would like to ask you now a question, Nadia. So could you list the first things to do when you have this brilliant idea, or where to go and why? Do you think French Tech Paris-Saclay would be a very good option for some people who want to open a startup?
Yeah, the third things to do is to talk about the ID, not to keep a secret your ID. So just talk with the different people. If your ID come from your workspace, of course you can talk with your different collaborator. But generally, as Johanna said, the different structure like the research lab, public lab or private lab have like a structure to help and to give some skills or give some advice to the potential entrepreneur. So it's just the first thing. The second thing is to find if there is someone in your in your lab or in your company, a structure, innovation structure. If not, you can of course keep your question to La Frenchec Paris-Saclay, if you're based in Paris-Saclay, of course, in order to have the good contact. So we try to find the good person who can help you on your different question or your activity in general.
Wow, amazing. Thanks very much. Maybe I would like just first to thanks all you all. We're gonna move on to the questions from the audience. So I'll take here and start asking one question right after the others, and we have this discussion. And I hope each one of you would like to add and comment. So first, it is, what are the most important skills to create a company and make a success out of it? So, who's feeling to answer?
Yeah, it's not an easy question, right?
Okay.
Maybe we'll let the ones who are actually doing it try to answer that.
Yes.
Okay. I would say perseverance. Which is a good thing because at PhD you have a lot of this specific skill, and also I would say a little bit of luck.
Oh, that
For me, there is not a typical profile to be a successful entrepreneur, because if there were, everyone would have followed that model and to be successful. I will say that there are some traits that characterize entrepreneur or future entrepreneur, that are curiosity and the envy to doing some things differently, providing answer and a solution to every day to every problem, and to try new adventures, and being resilient to recover from this mistake. It is very important to be entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else? Okay, let's move on to this next one. Any examples of startups that had great products and yet still fail due to the lack of non-technical skills? I think the PhD students, they're all like asking these technical parts as well.
This is a question which is difficult to answer. It's usually not the main problem, especially in an ecosystem like the one we know. I mean, I can talk about what I know, which is being connected to research labs. Mm-hmm. When a startup comes to us saying we're facing a technical difficulty, for sure what we're going to do is put them in relation with a CNRS lab, which is specialized in that, and try to solve this difficulty. So it's usually not the main problem. And there I'm talking about a startup that is coming out of a research lab, okay, or that is connected with a research network, because we have all the ability to find a way to raise it to erase that problem. But sometimes it can just be that your technology does not work, and Easiest example there is when you're trying to develop therapeutics. You're successful in the phase 1 of your clinical trial, and in phase two it fails, and that's it. And this is the end of the project. The company is going to shut down. There's nothing you can do against that. So it's a technical failure, and it happens. But sometimes it's solvable, and we can work on that. Sometimes it's just not. That's for example
Very
a good illustration of how it can fail on a technical point of view.
Thank you very much. The next one is very interesting. It says, it is written on PhD contracts that the research results obtained during the PhD belongs to the lab where he worked. How do we deal with that if we want to build a company?
Yeah. So the results belong to the lab. I mean, not the laboratory itself does not have any...
Live streaming is on.
Okay, we are back.
Perfect.
All right.
I'm sorry for this technical problem with the connection. I will read again out loud the question that one of the participants made. So the question is, it is written on PhD contracts that research results obtained during the PhD belongs to the lab where we work. How do we deal with that if we want to build our own company?
Okay, so the research results of your PhD actually belong to the founders of your lab, usually a university and a research organism, which are co-owners of those results. Their mission is to bring this research results to the market, to make an invention out of it, and to bring it to the market, make it useful to society. So basically, it's going to be the owner, University of CNRS, that are going to decide what is the best way to bring it to society. It can be by creating a startup, but it can also be by giving a license to an existing company. What we believe at CNRS is that in any case, whatever we want to do, either license it to an existing company or create a startup, we're going to need to bring the inventors of the technology on board in order to do either of that thing. Because it's extremely, actually, I think it's unfeasible to reach out to an existing company, say, we have this technology, do you want to use it? But the inventor doesn't want to talk to you. That this doesn't work out. So in the end, if you are the inventor of what came out of your PhD, we're going to need you on board. And so we need to talk to you and agree with you on what we're going to do with this technology. And so if you want to create a startup and we agree with you that, yeah, it's a good way and we're going to work on your startup project, then you're going to create a startup and we're going to give you an exclusive license on those results in order for you to develop your company.
Wow, very informative. Thanks very much for sharing all of this. I have one more question, which is how to find a team. I would like to work in deep tech startup, but not necessarily in my own startup. How can I become a part of one? So
yeah, I can answer this question. Yeah, in La French Tech in generally, because we are not the unique French Tech in France, there are like many French Tech, almost 60 around the France. Our role is to mix different profiles, the profile of entrepreneur, of course, the profile, the talent, so student, researcher, and also the company potential partner, etc. So usually we create some fair where we can mix the different profile in order to give the chance to the different talents, like students or researcher, to have the opportunity to work for the startup or for a big firm also. But this fair can give also the opportunity to mix like the startup with the big company also. So usually you have to watch if there are some fair on your area maybe you can see with your school, if you're from France, like a grande école or a big university in France, some university make co-events with La French Tech of their area.
Thank you very much.
But I think there are like many ways to find startup and to work to the startup, but give just one tool, it's a fair.
Yeah, thanks very much. The next one is what are the market incentives to build a startup aimed at African countries? With the internet, aren't all startups global no matter what? Is there some internet access issues? So, does anyone want to? I can repeat again. It's a question regarding the market incentives to build a startup, if it's aimed or not in the African countries as well. And with the access of the internet, it should be a global matter, or if does. Maybe Jean could talk a little bit why.
Okay, thank you. I think there are many issues if you want to build some project in Africa, like internet connectivity. We can address your solution to that to improve internet connectivity. And the complexity of African market is the diversity of African market, because each country have each specific problem. You need to analyze the specific market where you want to build our ecosystem at first. Like if you want to build our ecosystem or to sell our solution in North of Africa, it is different that if you want to sell our solution in West Africa, etc. You need to analyze the market, the need of consumer, and the local ecosystem to find some partner, local partner, and to ask them what is what is the main problem in local market. It is today African country is one of the most ecosystem in the world, because we need to make many things to develop our infrastructure, our market, but to make a business in Africa is very difficult, because each market is specific. The difference between each market is the difference of the level of development and the diversity of the language. Africa country it has many languages, local languages and international languages. In West Africa, we can have some country that who speak in French, in English, Spanish. We need to adapt our solution to each other, to each ecosystem. I think you need to have some connection, some local connection to ask them, and is that's possible to make some travel in African country to see how the market, the local market work. How is the main goal? How is the main issue that we can address your solution? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean.
Right.
So I would like to first finish this part of the discussion. I will have this final word, and I will give you a little bit. If you want to say some final words, you're more than welcome. I would like, starting this, I would like to say thanks very, very much for all your for you all here, the participants, and also the speakers who had this brilliant discussion with all we all. And I will start asking if anyone wants to give some final words to the participants, some encouraging words that everything is possible, and and give some hope to the participants. Please use this time, and thank you again very much. So, anyone?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Go for it, Nadia.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I would like to say thank you for the organizer and for the different people constitute the audience concerning the topic. It's very interesting. I would like the final words will be maybe network. Don't be shy. It's very important for you future as an entrepreneur or as an employee. To network in order to find maybe your future experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ewen, please.
Yes. So yes, first thank to the organization of this roundtable. I think it's very interesting to give the opportunity to PhD students to have a lot of different views about entrepreneurship after the PhD. If I had to give a final advice is don't rush your decision. Take your time. Think carefully about what you want to do, the implication, especially on your personal life, because starting a company requires a lot of energy, a lot of time, and maybe you also want to spend this energy and this time to build a family, and sometimes it can be quite complicated to do both things at the same time. And also take the time to build your professional network, because business is really based on your personal network. And maybe if you go to work in the private sector a couple of years, maybe if you work in your lab to build up some business partnership with company, maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you will have a much more solid background to start and succeed in launching a tech startup. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Jean?
Okay, I would like to add some points at these discussions. It is about the competitions. If you want to be successful on your market, you need to analyze the competition, because it is very important to know how the competition is breeding. It was my one of my mistake, because I don't analyze the competition. I present the solution that was similar of the solutions of my competitors. This is some case we can avoid. We can take time to analyze the solution that our competitor is breeding, because consumer need to know how is the difference of our solution of between the solution of our competitors. And the second part is your marketing strategy. One of successful marketing strategy is to get customers and partners to promote our solution in addition to our own strategy, because it is provided that your solutions is validated by the target audiences. And to finish, I want to thank Caradoc for this organization, because I think creating the link between a company and a PhD student, it is very important, because a PhD student have a technological skill that company needs to improve their process and to be competitive on the market. Thank you to everyone, and we can contact me on my profile, my LinkedIn profile, or by email. Thank you to all.
Thank you. Please, Johanna, final.
Yes, well, first of all, for sure, thank you to the organizers and all of you who were listening to us and who are interested, apparently, in this talk about creating a startup. If you're still interested after all those talks, please don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to us, and for sure, we will help you, as Ewen said, to make the right choice. We will help you assess whether or not it's a good idea and the good timing to launch your startup. And if we agree that it is a good idea and that you should definitely do it, then you will stop being alone and facing this project. We'll do it with you to prepare the launch of your startup in the best conditions. We will open our network to you, and we will be really eager to do that. So if you're still motivated, please send an email, startup@cnrsinnovation.fr.
Thank you very, very much. I would like just to say to our participants that we have a next roundtable with gender equity in companies and public institutions. It's starting in less than 10 minutes. And thank again for everybody and all the speakers, and have a good day. Bye-bye.